All right, guys, we are moving into the next section for today, which is literal equations. So literal equations is just, a lot of times you get equations that have just like all variables in them, or a lot of different variables and a couple numbers, kind of some random things thrown in there. So we're working today on just rearranging equations for different variables. So we worked before on solving for y. For the most part, you guys did pretty well on that. So we're just going to kind of throw a few extra variables in there that you need to be able to solve for, okay? So literal equations, or a lot of times they're formulas, they're equations that contain at least two different variables. You'll use inverse operations. What do inverse operations mean? Inverse starts with an O? Opposite. Yeah, you're just using opposites. In terms of means to solve for a particular variable. A lot of times it might say, what is B in terms of P? So in other words, it just means solve for B in terms of P. So what is B would just be like solve for B. Does that make sense? So as far as in terms of just means that's what's on the other side, okay? So if I gave you this solve for B in terms of P, it just means to get B by itself. Does that make sense what I'm asking for? So if it says what is B, it just means solve for B. Just telling you which one to solve for. All right, so number one, D equals RT. Do you guys know what that formula is? What that stands for? Really? You guys don't know? No, most people know what that one is. It's distance equals rate times time. Yeah, so distance equals rate times time. So if I want you to solve for T, meaning you want it to be T equals everything else, how do you get T by itself? Divide by R, yeah. Because that's R times T, so the opposite of multiplying is dividing. So that'll get your R by it to cancel out, and then T equals, and that's just D over R. So while this is easy, because you're just solving for a variable, people struggle with this because there's not numbers. And people panic because they don't know what to do with that. Okay, so a lot of times you moving stuff around, but not a lot of math per se is actually happening. Okay, are we okay on that one where I just got T by itself? So number two, C equals 2 pi R for R. Do you know what that formula is? That's circumference. Good. Should know that one from geometry. Good. To get R by itself, we just have to divide by 2 pi. So that way your 2's cancel, your pi's cancel. So do I have to actually grab a calculator and type something in here? No, just C over 2 pi. Yeah, a lot of times we treat pi more like a variable than we actually do a number. Okay, so you're just getting different variables by themselves. That's the whole goal of today. Q equals 2s over t. This isn't really a formula. It's just a bunch of random stuff to get you guys to figure things out. So if you see a fraction, what's your first instinct? Multiply to get rid of that fraction, right? And some of you looking at quizzes, some of you are still a hot mess on clearing fractions. So when we are clearing fractions, we always want to do that first. You have to multiply everything by t. Right? Before it was like a number down there. This time it's just a variable. So I need to multiply by t. So t times q is qt. Such a cutie. All right, and what happens when you multiply by t over here? It clears the t. I got a couple people still multiplying and telling me that's 2st. No, it's not. Okay, because it's t divided by t, which is going to cancel, and all you have left is 2s. Is s by itself yet? No. What else do I have to do? Good. We'll divide by 2. Get your 2's to cancel. I have just an s left. And it's just going to be qt over 2. So don't think you're going to get some beautiful, pretty answer at the end of these. We are literally just rearranging formulas. That's all we're doing today. Okay, so no nice, pretty answers. E equals 3f plus 2g. Solve that one for g. So what do I have to do first? Subtract. Good. Don't divide first. Dividing should be like the last thing you do. So I'll subtract 3f. What's e minus 3f? E minus 3f. Don't do over, because that would imply division. We don't want to divide. So that's just e minus 3f equals 2g. Good. Divide by 2. Since we are dealing with lots of variables and things going on, I can just leave one giant fraction here as e minus 3f all over 2. Like, you don't have to write e over 2 and then the 3f over 2. We can just leave one giant fraction because it's not going to simplify any anyway. That one got big. Does anybody know what this formula is for? It's area, not triangle, it's just base times height. It's not a triangle. Starts with a T. Trapezoid. It's area of a trapezoid. 1/2 times the height times the base 1 plus base 2. Do you guys remember what a trapezoid looks like? Looks like that. Yes, looks like the Pizza Hut sign. All right, so that's the area of trapezoid. But again, we're not geometry. We're just rearranging this. If I want to solve this for B1, first thing I see a fraction. Let's multiply everything by 2. So 2 times A is 2A. And then when I do 2 here, 2 divided by 2, it's 1, thank you, times 1. It's 1, so I just have 1h. Do I distribute the 2 to the parentheses? No, we don't touch the parentheses. All right, normally your first instinct is probably to distribute that h, right? But does that make things better or worse? It makes them worse. Instead of distributing it, could I just get rid of it? Yeah, I can just divide it. Right, this is just h times something, so I can divide both sides by h. I'm trying to undo this whole problem here. So I can cancel out the h's here. 2a over h. And I still have b1 plus b2. Which one am I getting by itself? b1. So what else do I have to get rid of? Subtract the b2. So you're going to have 2a over h minus b2 equals b1. Now just take note how I wrote that, because sometimes people get a little confused when they're kind of moving that around there. So the 2a over h, that's like one term, and then minus the b2 equals b1. How are we doing so far? I feel like we're kind of flying through these, but are we doing okay? No? How's everyone else other than Casey? Doing okay? All right. Number 6, solving for y. What do you notice right away? I noticed an n, yes. What else did you notice? It's kind of cute, though. All right. We have a fraction, right? So we should multiply everything by m. So m times 9. 9m. When I multiply the m here, it's m divided by m. Nothing. They cancel each other out, right? It's 1. So I just have a y. Ooh, equals n or equals mn. I will tell you probably 90% of you missed a question on the back of the test, or back of that quiz, because you did not multiply by that last term on the other side over there. That 90% of you missed it. Yeah, now you're like, crap, what's that mean? All right, I'm trying to get y by itself. What else do I have to do? Minus the 9m. Are those like terms? No, one's an mn and one's an m. They're not the same. So it's just going to be mn minus 9m. about you, but I always liked these kind of problems because I'm not really doing a lot of math, right? You don't need to pull out a calculator for anything. You're just moving stuff around. A lot of brain. Oh, I'm so sorry. Making you think. Some of you need to think a little more. Yeah, absolutely. Stop, I did not. I did. Are you okay? Okay. Yeah, if I ever go too fast, guys, just say something. I'll slow down. Number 7. What do you notice right away? You got a fraction. Got to get rid of that fraction, guys. Well, for the most part, you guys are okay, but there's a handful of you that still are not doing it right. And I don't know if it's because you're not paying attention. I think if I say it enough, you'll kind of like, oh, yeah, I'm doing that wrong every time. There was one person, I can't remember who it is right now, who skipped every single question on that quiz that had a fraction on it. Literally left every one of them blank. Not a good idea, guys. All right, so when you multiply it here, 3 divided by 3 is 1. So then I just have y plus 3 on the top. Okay, equals 3 times a, 3 times b. It's going to make that minus 3b. You have to distribute it to everything, every single piece. All right, and again, we're trying to get y by itself, so we need to do what? Minus the 3. So y equals, we have 3a minus 3b minus 3. It's a lot of 3's. So will you have a lot of like terms to actually put together, you think? No, probably not. What's that formula? It's not circumference. It's what? That's Celsius and Fahrenheit. Yeah, it's how to switch between the 2 degrees. Yeah, if you know what it is in Fahrenheit, you can plug that in and it will tell you what it is then in Celsius. So Dylan, what do you do first? By what? Good. We're going to multiply by 9. I know where you were going with that. Yeah, I know where he was going. There you go. So 9c. And then what happens when I multiply here? So 9 divided by 9 times 5 is 5. And then we do not distribute to that parenthesis. You shouldn't. Hold on. Should we distribute that? Because it makes it harder. I would need a calculator, right? I don't want to get a calculator out. You can get there. Yeah, you can get there. I'm lazy, remember? Less steps, guys. Less steps. I'm going to divide by 5. Because you know what? I don't need a calculator. If you distribute that, you probably need one to multiply 5 and 32. But I can divide by 5, and I get 9c over 5 equals f minus 32. And then to get f by itself, add 32. So 9c over 5 plus 32 equals f. So if, real quick, because you asked, could you go the other direction? Could you distribute and still do the problem? Does it look different? I just want to kind of talk to you real quick, because I know some people will probably do that, and you're not as lazy as I am. That's okay. If you distributed, you would have had 9c equals 5f minus 160. Is that right? It's Monday morning. My brain's not functioning yet. All right, so if you're trying to get f by itself, so then you would add the 160, So 9c plus 160 equals 5f. And then divide by 5. So 9c plus 160 over 5 equals f. Is that the same as this?
Yeah.
9c divided by 5. 9c divided by 5. 160 divided by 5 is 32. It's simplified. That's all the difference is. This one's simplified. If you do this and stop here, will I count it wrong? No, I will not count that wrong. But did it take more work and a calculator? Yeah. So be lazy. Be lazy like your math teacher, okay? Just divide. Don't distribute. What is E in terms of T? So what variable are you solving for? You want E equals or T equals? E, right? What is E means solve for E. That's what that means. So I want E by itself. Whoa. Take a look at this problem. You have two E's. This is, I have two E's. I somehow have to make that a single E. No. Come back to this problem real quick. If you look here, we had distributed this 5 when I did it over this way. So it changed my problem. Technically, what you got going on over here is a 5f minus a 5 times 32. Do you agree with that? I just did 5 times 32. That's where that came from. So do you see I had two 5s? Just like right now I have two E's. So how can you undo these 5s to pull them out as 1? It's like you need to undistribute it. I need to undistribute that E. It looks like somebody distributed it. They put the E to both things. Can I pull the E back out? Yes. I can pull this E back out in front, and then I'm left with just a T minus 7. Take a look, take a minute, really look at that. Take a minute, because I know that's a little much for you, some of you. Toby. Harley, will you wake him up, please? Can you sit up, please, so I can see that lovely face of yours? Thanks. All right, guys, take a look at what I did. I undistributed it. When you have more than one, pull it out in front, right? Just like if I gave this to you, E times T minus 7, and you distributed, that would become ET minus 7E, right? You would have put an E with each of them. So pull that back out front, undistribute. Well, hold on, let's rewrite the rest of my problem. I still have T plus 10 over here. What variable are you trying to get by itself? E. So what do you need to get rid of to get E by itself? I don't want T by itself. I want this by itself right there. How is E connected to that? Think what it is. Divide by T minus 7. It's one piece. That's no different than me dividing both sides by a variable. It's just one giant piece. Right? If it makes you feel better, you can keep it in parentheses if you want. Because then this is the same on top and bottom, and all I have left is an E. And this is just T plus 10 over T minus 7. You can put it in parentheses so you remember that's a group. And then E's by itself. What? Guys, I would maybe star this problem, circle it, highlight it. This is the hardest one you would probably find. Okay? So you're going to come across, again, a problem or two like this, so that way you know to kind of come back to this to kind of reference it. Okay? All right, questions on what we're doing so far?